It was a quiet Saturday morning. The sun had just begun to shine through the window, and Ethan sat cross-legged on the floor beside his bed. In his hands was a small bundle of money. He counted slowly. 1, 2, 3. He smiled after every number. All the way to $20. It was the first money he had ever earned by himself. He didn't win it. He didn't receive it as a birthday gift. He worked for it. The previous week, he had helped his uncle arrange goods in his small store. He carried boxes, cleaned shelves, and greeted customers politely. When they finished, his uncle placed the money in his hand and said, "This is your first real earnings. Spend it wisely." Ethan nodded seriously. But on his way home, wisdom became very quiet, and excitement became very loud. On the road home, he passed the toy store near the corner. Music played loudly inside. Bright lights flashed across the walls. Children laughed and ran around happily. Ethan stopped walking. Then he saw it, a shiny robot toy. It walked, it talked, it danced. It flashed colorful lights across the room. A boy inside pressed a button and the robot spun in circles while everyone laughed. Ethan's heart beat faster. He imagined showing it to his friends. He imagined being the only one in school who owned it. Without thinking, he entered the store. 5 minutes later, he came out holding a large box. All his money was gone. But he was smiling. At home, the robot was magic. For the first hour, he couldn't stop laughing. He called his friends. They gathered around him. Everyone wanted a turn. During lunch, the robot danced on the table. During homework, it stood beside him flashing lights. Before sleeping, he placed it next to his pillow and watched it spin again and again. Ethan whispered happily, "This is the best thing I've ever bought." That night, he slept smiling. The next morning, he woke up excited. He pressed the button. Nothing happened. He pressed it again. Silence. No lights, no sound. The robot stood still. He shook it, still nothing. He opened the back cover and saw the problem. The batteries were finished. He ran to a nearby store and asked for new batteries. The shopkeeper said, $10. Ethan froze. $10? He checked his pocket, empty. The happiness of yesterday had an expiry date. That afternoon, he returned to his uncle's store. His uncle noticed his quiet face. "What happened to your earnings?" he asked. Ethan looked down. "I bought a toy. It was fun, but only for one day." His uncle smiled kindly and pointed to a box of snacks on the shelf. "I bought this yesterday for $20, he said. "Today I already made $15 selling half." Ethan looked confused. "So, the money comes back?" "Yes," his uncle replied. "And when you treat money well, it brings friends with it." Ethan stared at the empty space in his pocket. For the first time, he understood something important. Some happiness ends quickly. Some happiness grows. The next week, Ethan worked again. He carried boxes, cleaned shelves, helped customers. His uncle paid him another $20. This time, Ethan walked past the toy store. He slowed down. The robot was still there, dancing and flashing. He watched it for a moment. Then he smiled softly and kept walking. Instead, he went to the market. He bought sweets in bulk. The next day at school, during break time, he sold them to his classmates. Before lunch, everything was gone. He counted his money carefully, $28. He froze, then laughed. It was more than he started with. That day, his happiness didn't switch off. Because this time, he didn't buy excitement. He built value.